Samoa Joe is still X Division champion, and he's busy with Scott Steiner this month. So the main X Division feud this month is Kevin Nash versus Chris Sabin.
As you would expect.
The biggest X Division star of all time, literally, Kevin Nash.
So let's talk about it.
May 18th Impact. If you were to remember, the World X Cup back at the pay-per-view, very underwhelming tournament, ended in a tie. So it was a 5-5 tie at Sacrifice between Team Canada and Team USA. So the decider, the tie break, is a captain's match, which happens on the May 18th Impact between Chris Sabin and Petey Williams. Everybody goes to interfere. Larry Z bans them not only from ringside, he locks them out of the building.
A little overkill, perhaps.
He needs to keep them out. Well, it makes sense for the angle that happens after, which is another one of those like small logic things. But yeah, it is silly that like I'm going to lock you out of the building so you can't make the save later. TNA mentions that Sanjay suffered a sprained ankle at the pay-per-view. Kevin Nash arrives and throws the security guard into a wall. One of my favorite little things, Liam. Petey Williams goes for the Canadian Destroyer on Chris Sabin. He does the drop to the knee counter.
Yeah. Every time. They should do it every time they ever wrestle.
As I said, there is going to be a moment. I know it. There's going to be a moment where they don't do it. But so far, ever since they introduced in, what was it, November 2004, like over 18 months ago, they introduced the idea that Chris Sabin has the counter for the Canadian Destroyer. And I think every single time, and it's like 5 times since then, PD has gone to Canadian Destroyer Sabin. Sabin has done his counter.
That's good stuff. But now they got to counter the counter and countering the counter.
But like there is going to be a time where he just hits it, and I'm going to be heartbroken.
Yeah.
Sabin reverses a top rope Rana attempt into the Cradle Shock for the win. Mike and Don spent most of the closing segment of this match talking about what the various King of the Mountain matches could be, because this happened straight after the Larry Zbyszko, we don't know what the matches could be segment was. And like it really like underlined just how meaningless this tournament has been.
Yeah.
It's just like, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. The post-match isn't even about Sabin and his team celebrating because we go to an Ash angle. The commentators aren't even talking about this tiebreaker. Could you imagine like the G1 final where they're like, oh, let's talk about something else happening in the show, you know?
Yeah, I mean, which is my least favorite thing in wrestling in general.
Like, I understand like if you're at the like you got to pay your bills, if you will. You know, at the start of the match, you can like drop in. It's like, oh, who could the main event be tonight? It's one of these 8 men. That's fine. But like these men are in the home stretch of their tournament tiebreaker. All these countries have come together for this great big tournament, and like while they're going in their finishing stretch, they're talking about like Scott Steiner and Jeff Jarrett and Sting and Raven.
Yeah.
It stinks. Andrew Thomas presents Sabin with a comically large trophy. Nash jumps Sabin from behind, smashes the trophy. Nash gouges Sabin with a piece of the trophy, drawing blood, which I don't think Chris Sabin has bled before in this company.
I wouldn't be able to keep note of that.
You don't have a photographic memory of every time Chris Sabin has bled in the 3 years he's been in TNA so far?
I don't have an index of it, no.
Yeah, but Sabin gets color here for this angle. Nash drops him with a jackknife and said the X Division champion got nothing on him.
Which is a good line.
I do appreciate the bit that like he jumps X Division guys after the match. It's like, they got nothing on me. What a bunch of nerds.
Didn't even hit me once. Took no damage. Perfect round.
Yeah, like Tekken.
He jumps in when they have 1 hit left. Then he says perfect round.
Yeah. Lethal, Dutt, and Lynn eventually come out to make the save, as TNA does point out they were locked out of the building by Zbyszko, so they couldn't make the save from the Nash attack. And then Shelley just kind of wanders out later than everybody else, but then leaves with Nash.
He does do like a little like pats him on the shoulder. He's like, good work, kid.
Betrayal. Though the thing he's betraying is America, so maybe I'm on board.
Or isn't he technically betraying the NWA?
Which I'm still on board. Fuck you, Billy. May 25th Impact, after an X Division match that we'll talk about when we get to the other side of the X Division. Nash arrives after the match and jackknifes Lethal.
I'm sure we could just chuck these two together, to be honest. There's not like a lot of story running through all of these. It's just kind of matches.
The deep lore behind the eventual 6-way on the pay-per-view, because you get a 4-way on TV. All right. The opener of the May 25th Impact, Senshi versus Jay Lethal versus Alex Shelley versus Shark Boy. You love this, apparently.
Sponsored by...
Yes. This match is sponsored by X-Men: The Last Stand.
I want to talk about X-Men: The Last.
Which Don gives the pitch for, where he says he loved the first 2 movies, and he's heard this one is the last one and the best one.
Okay.
It was neither the last one nor the best one.
So, let's talk about X-Men: Last Stand.
It's a bad movie.
I love it.
Do you actually?
I do.
Do you really love X-Men: The Last Stand?
I love X-Men: Last Stand, and let me tell you why.
Please do.
X-Men: Last Stand came out in 2006.
I see where this is going.
I was 9. I fucking loved this movie.
Uh-huh.
And you know what?
What?
One sec. I need to check something before I say something slanderous. And the only X-Men movie not directed by a big pedophile.
I like the way you spent time going through all of them.
I just had to make sure that Bryan Singer actually was accused.
And to be fair, there are other X-Division movies that were directed by people other than...
The only one of this run.
So I think you've technically accused, like, Matthew Vaughn of being a pedophile there, too.
I did. Not directed by Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
The more important thing. I love this movie. It's stupid, it's dumb, but it's awesome. It's just, like, for a 9-year-old, this is the best superhero movie.
They do kill a lot of people.
And they just do cool shit. They have cool powers. Magneto's awesome. What do you want from me? I love the first 3 X-Men.
I love the first 2 X-Men.
See, that's what I get to love the trilogy. While you are over there in your ivory tower, you're looking at the X-Men trilogy, and you're crying about Last Stand, and how it doesn't hold up, and Vinnie Jones is Juggernaut. Shut up. I get to like all 3. I get to enjoy all 3.
I was going to expressly state one of the positive column points for this movie is the "I'm the Juggernaut bitch" line, which is in this movie. If you don't like that line, you're a baby.
I want to Google all the X-Men movies right quick.
Uh-huh.
Because I want to work out how many of them I think are good and how many of them I think are...
They have about a 50-50 hit rate, really.
X-Men good, X2 good, Last Stand good. Origins bad.
Bad.
Wolverine bad.
Wolverine is good. Oh,
The Wolverine
no.
is bad.
I like Wolverine a lot.
I mean, it's fun. It's like self-contained. It's not the worst.
You see, people remember like the last 10 minutes, which are bad. It becomes a really bad CGI fight that no one cares about. But I think everything before that is actually really, really good.
Okay, I'll put it in the middle. I'll meet you in the middle.
Okay, that's fair.
Logan, good.
Yeah.
First Class, good. Days of Future Past, good. I watched it recently. It's like good enough. Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, the worst shot you'll ever watch in your fucking life. What's the goddamn point? If Magneto's not on the screen, it doesn't serve anything.
I will say they're bad, both of them. Dark Phoenix does have, I think, the best scene of the X-Men kicking ass, though.
Yeah, but Dark Phoenix is a dog shit, terrible, awful, bad movie.
It is, but they have that one, like, 3-minute scene on the train where all of the X-Men are actually, like, a team fighting something, which I think is, like, the only time in all of these movies that actually happens.
Yeah.
And it is really cool, but the rest of the movie is diabolical.
But it's so bad. It's so bad, man. And by the way, every time I called Bryan Singer pedophile, it was alleged.
Alleged, indeed. And
Alleged.
the times you called everybody else who, what's his name, James Mangold, you also called him a pedophile, I think, technically.
I did.
But
I did call, and Simon Kinberg,
yeah.
and Matthew Vaughn,
Apologies to them for catching strays.
Brett Ratner.
No, Brett Ratner is the one you qualified.
Oh yeah, Brett Ratner, you're the one.
Yeah, this X-Division opener is sponsored by X-Men The Last Stand.
Yeah, I saw that and I immediately knew I wanted to defend X-Men The Last Stand.
And it's fun, like, you got the X-Division and you get X-Men. There you go, branding.
Oh, Matthew Vaughn was originally going to do The Last.
Yeah, and then he did First Class, and I think he was originally going to do Days of Future Past too, but they pivoted to Bryan Singer.
Great.
Don mentioned that Senshi was revered in Japan as a former X-Division champion, and that's the reason he's come back, because they loved him so much for being X-Division champion. He's like, I want to win that belt again.
And they'll love me even more when I leave.
Yeah, that's actually how his career strategy, which I actually think if you actually do the math, it's actually exactly what he's done, which is win the X-Division title, spend some time in Japan, go back and win the X-Division title, spend some time in Japan. So he needs to re-establish his Japanese cred with the X-Division title every so often.
Makes sense.
He beats Lethal with the Warriors away after a big Tower of Doom. And
remember when we started the Rain Takers? And Loki was just all over these shows?
Yeah, that was really weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Until he hitmanned his way out of the company. But yes, Nash arrives after the match, jackknifes the Lethal, calls himself the undisputed cruiserweight bully, and says size matters.
He's talking about his dick.
No, he's just talking about physical height. What are you talking about?
No, he's talking about his penis and cock and balls.
There is no segment this month where Kevin Nash alludes to his penis. I don't know what you mean.
Should I buy the X-Men 10 movie collection?
Sure. How much is it?
$46.
It's a steal. They're also all on Disney Plus, but
Yeah, but like $35.
Ooh, Blu-ray or DVD?
Nah, it's Blu-ray. I want Ultra HD.
Ooh, Mr. I have even higher standards.
Well, I can get the trilogy for $35 in Ultra HD.
As they're going out to break, break here, there's a fun moment where Nash is like, Shelley, look down the hard camera. He's like, let's do a pose. Shelley, look at the hard camera. Giving him his tutorship.
See, he's a good teacher. He's a benevolent god.
Yeah. June 1st Impact. Backstage, JB has Alex Shelley. JB is like, what's your deal, man? You're stalking people? You stalked Sting? You stalked Christian? Now you're freaking hooking up with Kevin Nash? Oh, no. He makes such a good noise. He's like, you've hooked up with Kevin Nash? Yeah? And then Alex Shelley's like, now you've hooked your wagon to Kevin Nash. It's like fucking got his ass.
I like that Shelley's line of, what I do with my camera in my own time is none of your business.
Yeah, he's a photojournalist.
And it's perverted in nature.
Filming people through windows all the time. You leave him alone. He's just making movies. This is art.
Making flicks. Who are you to judge his art?
Nash walks in and says he can make Shelley a star. He's like, who you got tonight? He's like, Jay Lethal. But I lost my tripod. And Nash is like,
I got your tripod right here.
Right here.
Right here.
And then Jay Lethal versus Alex Shelley.
Yeah, they have a good little match.
Good little TV X Division match, as you would expect. Nash gets up in the apron, but Lethal whips Shelley into Nash's elbow, rolls Shelley up for the pin. They immediately jump Lethal after the match. Sabin makes the save, and then Nash uses Shelley as like a human shield and bails. He just kind of throws him at Sabin. Then Sabin picks up a microphone, and Mike Tenay is shocked. He's like, Sabin has a microphone?
Rude, first of all.
Bobby.
He used to talk all the time when he was heel X Division champion in the Asylum.
Yeah, he's a man who knows a lot about sex and talking.
Well, I don't know him personally.
He tells Nash to man up. He's like, man up, dog. Not the best opening gambit from Chris Sabin.
No.
Points out that his back wasn't turned, so Nash bailed. So he challenges Nash to a match at Slammiversary if he doesn't have a date planned with Alex Shelley.
Yeah, because they're gay.
They're gay pals.
Gay.
People who are gay. Brokeback Mountain.
Gay.
Sabin said he'll prove to Nash what Nash's wife has been saying for years. Size doesn't matter.
Because he's talking about penis.
Just a solid outline.
Penis.
It's better than gay. It's like your dick is small is better than gay.
Gay. Your dick is small and gay.
So that does set up our pay-per-view match, Kevin Nash versus Chris Sabin.
Well, we have another setup.
Yes, the next week, Nash is backstage, or no, he's in his hotel room, sorry, with Alex Shelley. We go to Paparazzi Productions, and he's like, Sabin, he fell for our trap.
We have a plan.
And then, once again, we go to a drawing on a piece of paper, one of those flipboard paper things. Do those have names? It's not a whiteboard this time. It's one of those, like,
dry erase.
No, it's like the boards with the paper that you like flip over the pieces.
Oh,
of
that
paper.
you tear them off.
Yeah, does that have a name for like the board version of that? I don't know.
Nah.
But yes, they have a 3-part plan. The first of which they've executed. They've lured Sabin into a match at Slammiversary. Part number 2, tonight, they plan to scout Chris Sabin. And they're going to make sure Sabin knows they're there.
Yeah.
And then part 3 next week, he instructs Shelley to find a total Sabin clone for a tune-up match. As next week will be the Kevin Nash X Division debut, which will also be a size matters on a pole match, but that doesn't happen. We're robbed.
I think it is, but there's the similar rules, to a regular match.
I see no poles.
I got a pole for you right here.
God damn it. Chris Sabin and the James Gang face Team Canada.
I was gonna say, like, the irony being that I think the closest person to like a Chris Sabin clone for Nash to wrestle is probably Shelley.
Yeah, he should have just jackknifed his buddy. BG says, "Hail Sabin, hail yeah."
Cool.
So Nash and Shelley said they were going to scout this match and they were going to be seen. So a few minutes into the match, a scissor lift appears at the very back of the building.
It's very funny.
It really is. They very slowly move into frame as Alex Shelley and Kevin Nash appear on a scissor lift over the bleachers at the very back of the building. And even like from Sabin, they're very tiny figures. What are those guys doing over there? And Nash notices them as Nash demands Sabin show him something, and immediately EY jumps him from behind, and they're like, yeah! Sabin gets worked over by A1, and Nash is like, he's being beaten up by a man half my size. Sabin gets the hot tag to Kip, who runs wild. This is where DeBoer throws Rude a hockey stick, but Rhino stops from using it. Kip hits A1 with the Faymaster. Sabin wins with the top rope leg drop, which I guess it actually makes... he does that in the match with Nash as well. I was like, why is he winning with that? But I guess to set that up as a potential near fall against Nash, I guess is why they had him win with a top rope leg drop here.
It's also, maybe it's just nice to have a few... I mean, what's he going to do? Not shell shock.
Cradle.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Cradle shock.
Yep, I definitely didn't tell you.
Nope. What are they going to do? Cradle shock Kevin Nash?
Maybe he should.
I don't think he could.
I think he probably could. Nash and Shelley then lower themselves out of sight, but I think they lower themselves too far down because they're meant to have a face-off with Sabin. And I think they bring themselves back just high enough so that they can see over the top of the stands.
I could also believe that was the intended bit.
Yeah, their heads are just poking above so they can have a little jaw jacking with Sabin. So go home episode of Impact, Liam. Of course, we have the X Division debut of Kevin Nash, one of the biggest matches in Impact history. Never mind Sting and Steiner. X Division debut of Kevin Nash.
It's important, you know. Wrestling a face from the past.
Yes, so JB has Nash and Shelley. Shelley has found akin to a clone of Sabin from the future because he knows you can clone people there.
True.
But for the sake of his, anonymity, they don't want to embarrass him too much. They made him wear a mask.
No, they also said because he's ugly as hell.
Yeah, well, how dare they say that about Chris Sabin?
Well, he said that, like, from the neck down, he's exactly the same as Sabin, but just ugly as hell.
Saving us from the hideousy of his face. Nash then sings, "Happy Slammiversary, Sabin. I got you on my mind."
I'm sure that's a poignant reference to something.
I don't know what the song is either. I assume it is, but I don't know what the song is.
Yeah, me neither.
But he does that. There's I think it's a YouTube exclusive Paparazzi Productions segment in which he sings Happy Slammiversary Sabin. No, I think he says baby in that one. Happy Slammiversary baby. And that's been stuck in my brain for like 18 years. So it's fun to see it on Impact. It's one of those things that like every time Slammiversary comes around every year, I'm like, Happy Slammiversary baby. I don't even know what the song he's parodying is. Somebody tell me. Kevin Nash faces Mr. X.
Mr. X. I'm pretty sure it's PCO.
He's about PCO sized, I think.
Yeah.
Looks just like PCO.
So I'm pretty sure it's PCO.
And PCO is a Frankenstein monster, so that's why they need to cover the face.
Exactly. So PCO versus Kevin Nash.
Yeah, that is the match, definitely. So PCO is a mini. Yes, PCO is a mini from Hell, Michigan, according to Kevin Nash. Nash says that he knows that's secretly Sabin. Says we must have gotten this guy on short notice. Short notice, because he's a mini, Liam. Short notice.
I get it. Because, like, he's small.
Yeah, it's small, short, small. Get it?
Yep. Mike today just saying the M word this whole time, by the way.
Well, yeah, but that's 2006.
But with, like, vitriol in his voice.
Well, yeah, it's 2006.
It's like, damn, all right, man.
That is not the worst thing to happen on this month of television.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what? We'll save our fury for when we get to the James gag. But, yeah. He does look, after he does that short notice gag, he does look at Shelley. He's like, he gave me that one. My favorite bit of this is Don is very amused by this match because it's Nash, very tall man, wrestling Mr. X, very short man. Nash gives him a chokeslam while on his knees. Nash does a splash off the bottom rope and throws up an X. Nash sits in a chair in the middle of the ring and simply lifts his foot up to do a big boot. And like Don is like super on board for most of it, but when he does the big boot, it's like, this is too far.
No, he still loves it. Mike today bullies him into changing his opinion.
Yeah, Mike today is like, you're liking this? How dare you? And Don's like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Then he's like, oh, no, it's gone too far now.
They're
Sorry, Dad.
They're kind of good bits.
It's silly.
It is funny. As TNA gets more furious, the crowd start playing along and start chanting like TNA, and this is awesome. Nash hits the jackknife for the win. Shelley lifts Nash to his feet as TNA does close the segment tremendously with just like, what an ass. That's the out. They just go out and Mike TNA being like, what an ass. I did like Nash selling as if he had the hardest match of his life.
He had to work that style, the X Division style.
Very fast paced. He did do a dive off the bottom rope, which is very difficult. Slammiversary. We had a 6-way X Division elimination match. Senshi, Jay Lethal, Shark Boy, Alex Shelley, Petey Williams, and Sanjay Dutt.
Now, when you hear 6-way X Division match, you may think, wow, this is going to be kind of high octane.
Yeah, it got 19 minutes too.
Now, imagine if you were wrong about that.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of boring.
Yeah, they're talking in the Observer this month about how they're looking at venues outside of the Impact Zone for pay-per-views. And Dave is like, this match is an example of that, like why you need that, because they did all this stuff and they didn't get a response. And I would simply say, this match wasn't very good, Dave.
No, it was just kind of boring.
It was too long, because in theory, like, they get 19 minutes for the 6-way elimination match, and you're like, that's loads of time, that's good. But it was too much time, and it was quite boring.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have notes, other than, like, Dutt pins Shark Boy with a standing superstar, Lethal pins Shelley with a Dragon Suplex, PD eliminates Lethal with the Canadian Destroyer, Senshi pins PD with the Warrior's Way, and then Dutt with the Warrior's Way out of the corner. That's it. I didn't take notes, other than the eliminations. Senshi win.
Yay. The Warrior's Way in the corner kind of was sick, though.
Yeah, and he does the big scream when he does it. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I think that this is... I didn't watch his... Because like he wasn't doing the Warrior's Way, at least as a finish. I don't think he was doing it at all in his first TNA run.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was dropping. He was probably doing double stomps, but I don't know if it was like a finish.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't his finish.
The corner one, yeah.
And I don't think he did the corner one at all. Like, the Key Crusher was his finish in his first TNA run anyway. And, like, obviously, I'm not watching his Ring of Honor stuff at this point, or his, like, Indie or Japan stuff. So maybe he's doing the Warriors way there. But it's fun to see, like, a new wrinkle to Senshi, not Loki. If you are wondering who the fuck is Senshi, it's Loki. We'll probably say Senshi because he's Senshi, but it's Loki.
I'm going to say Loki.
But yeah, the Warriors way is a cool move.
It sure is.
A new fun wrinkle for this version of Loki. We go backstage. JB has Nash and Shelly. Shelly's like, I don't know if you saw it. I wrestled 10, 20 guys. Some had knives, some had guns. And Nash is like, I didn't see that, no. Sorry, he didn't say some have guns. He said some has gacks because he's up on the street lingo.
He said some of them have gacks. That's guns.
Yeah, just to explain it to his old man dad, Nash. It is Father's Day after all. So Nash explains, because it's Father's Day, he has a message for Walt Sabin watching on his crappy 19-inch TV. He's not going to pick up the medical bills, and when they have their sad phone call tonight, and when he's like, Dad, I got my ass kicked by Kevin Nash, and he'll be like, size doesn't matter.
Size does.
We then had a feature, and then we led to Kevin Nash versus Chris Sabin in the Size Matters contest.
Are you excited?
It was like Nash bumped for him, so
like he didn't eat him up.
He didn't. It was like the match it should have been. Like, Nash has more limitations than Steiner does at the moment, which is weird to think about.
Yeah.
Even though Nash does have a 4.25-star match according to you in TNA history.
That's true.
But yeah, it's the exact match you would expect it to be. Nash is big, Sabin is small. Sabin makes comebacks, Nash cuts him off. Nash cheats a little bit with an eye poke. Shelly interferes a little bit. Like, Nash does bump for Sabin's comeback. He bumps for a drop kick. Sabin even gets Nash up on the shoulders for the cradle shock, which he got like remarkable ease. Which is, when you said he could do it, I was like, he really could. He got him up there for it.
Yeah, but can he? I think like the twisting motion is the hardest bit though.
Especially because Nash is really long.
Yeah, because you have to like actually like move him in a safe manner.
You would have to somewhat drop him on his neck and shoulders.
Yeah, that's like could he like wrench him over? Probably. Could he do it safely?
Does he need to do it safely though?
Yeah.
Is it fine if he just drops Kevin Nash in his head?
Oh. I don't think so.
He got him up for the cradle shock, but Shelly pulled Nash off. Sabin wipes Shelly out with a dive. Sabin hits a springboard clothesline and a top rope leg drop for 2. Shelly crotches Sabin on the exposed turnbuckle, and Nash falls with a jackknife to defeat Chris Sabin.
Very good. Well, not very good. I mean, yeah, it's the first match, right? Like Nash should win.
Yeah.
I don't know where this goes, though.
Well,
I keep like being worried that like Paparazzi Productions is just gonna end any day now, and it's gonna make me really sad.
Oh no, like Paparazzi Productions runs in one way or another until like July 2007.
Yeah, but like I mean like the Nash combo.
But yeah, like Nash and Shelly are aligned with each other in one way or another until July 07. So you don't have to, you have another year of them. You don't have to worry about them disappearing all of a sudden. I will relieve that tension for you, even if this particular story doesn't really get paid off.
I was like, 'cause, like I don't remember them. Like I don't remember it. So
like there is no instance in which the X Division gets their like triumphant comeuppance on Kevin Nash. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It just becomes Nash just does more bits with more guys, which honestly is probably the better conclusion for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash, by all accounts, has been nice and approachable behind the scenes with younger TNA wrestlers. There is no sense he's out to hurt them or ultimately make TNA look bad.
How nice of him.
Again, like, you could be deeply cynical about whether or not you should do this with the X Division. And again, back in 06, fair. You know, should Nash be mocking the X Division being too cool for the X? Probably not. But, like, Nash is mostly mocking himself, and the segments are very funny.
Yeah.
So, what more could you want?
I'm not going to complain about it.
But people will. People complain about everything, including me.
You do complain about everything.
No, people complain about me is what I was saying, actually.
No, you do complain about everything, it's true.
People complain about me all the time.
Name one.
You.
Yeah, I've raised the bar higher.